We got protests breaking out, and the National Guard is being called in to clean up Los Angeles. Trump and Elon going back and forth over the spending bill. And did the EPA lie about what was going on in East Palestine? We're going to talk about all of that next on It's Culture. Let's get it.
We gon' always win. Promise that that's not a promise. Yeah, that is a threat. You know that I promise to bring the team commas. When the whole team win, that's when you flex. Win. And I'ma do it again. Watch me win. Then watch me do it again. Tell them I can't take no loss. My team hold no L's, no. Aiming for the top.
Welcome. Welcome back to the show. It's Culture Podcast. My name is Mark Stevenson, and you rocking with your boy tonight. We got a lot going on in the world right now. It's like chaos. Los Angeles, California, they got protests breaking out because of all the ICE raids going on. You got Elon going up against Trump over a spending bill. You got the EPA saying that there was a cover-up under the Biden administration. Mass deportations going on. It's so much going on in the United States right now that I can only cover a few topics tonight because, boy, I'll be on here all night. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If this is your first time, this is It's Culture. As I mentioned before, my name is Mark. On this show, we talk about everything from sports to entertainment to politics to trending topics. You name it, we cover it right here, and I give you my opinion on how I think about how things go. No, I don't lean right. I don't lean left. These are just my opinions and my opinions only. You can have your own, and you're entitled to that. But this is the place where all opinions are welcome. So, without further ado, let's get into it. If you all can do me a favor, hit the like button, share button, subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can get all the updates. We on our way to 15,000 subs, y'all. And I just want to thank y'all for that. As I was saying earlier, a lot is going on with ICE raids. And I've been covering the raids as they've been going on. In the beginning, when the Homeland Security and the ICE agents were going around, you had Border Patrol rounding up criminals who had catch and release, and they were deporting all these people to, El Salvador and all these other places around the world, sending them home. Everybody was cheering. At least a big, I would say a big portion of the country, not everybody, was cheering. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we signed up for. But now the raids are coming up on businesses, and they're raiding, construction sites and schools and all these things. And some people are kind of looking at it like, okay, if they're not breaking the law, then why are we targeting these people? Some of them may have came here seeking a better life. If they are, working and not getting in trouble and not doing something, this ain't the part that we wanted to see happen like this. This is not what we want to see. But that has not stopped Tom Homan and Christie. No, they have pushed forward in their plan to get every single illegal alien out of the country. And it has run its course in Los Angeles because now you have a bunch of chaos. We talked about the raids in California, particularly in Los Angeles over the last week. So much so that there's protests going on in the streets now. And the National Guard had to be called in because, these people are rioting. They're not happy. Let's go take a listen.
Tear gas and flashbangs tossed at crowds protesting immigration raids in Los Angeles Friday evening. Police issued a citywide alert nearly hours afterwards, declaring protests across the downtown unlawful assembly. In this video captured of the incident, you can see protesters pushing back against authorities in riot gear.
There's people running, screaming everywhere that ICE was here.
The protests happened hours after multiple people were arrested during a series of immigration and custom enforcement sweeps across the city, prompting fear and anger in many.
We ran because one of the persons said ICE in Spanish, so that's how basically the one that scattered.
The U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California posting this on X, saying in part, "Let me be clear. I don't care who you are. If you impede federal agents, you will be arrested and prosecuted. No one has the right to assault, obstruct, or interfere with federal authorities carrying out their duties." This is just the latest incident as ICE raids ramp up across the country as the Trump administration cracks down on illegal immigration. One of the more high-profile deportation cases involves Kilmore Abrego Garcia, a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador in March. He's now back in the U.S., but is facing federal charges for allegedly transporting undocumented immigrants in the U.S. for financial gain. An attorney for Abrego Garcia said his client should appear in immigration court, not criminal court.
And Diego's back in the country now. And so he's in U.S. custody, getting ready to be, charged with whatever it is that they're charging him with. They said that he was aiding people. He was like a coyote. So he was helping people come into the country illegally. So that's what they're charging him with. Don't know how true that is. Don't know if they just brought those charges up because this case has had so much attention because of how he was picked up and deported out of the country, and how it all started with like a mistaken identity. Just a mess. But what's going on in Los Angeles? It's gotten violent. And this time, this ain't black people. This ain't BLM, right? This ain't Black Lives Matter, the ones that tear up the city and the Antifa. No, these are, these are Latinos who are pissed off at the deportations, and they are tearing up the city. California Republicans are saying that Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass should have did more to protect the city, but they let it get out of control. And so much so that Trump bringing in the National Guard is actually against the wishes of what Gavin Newsom wants. So I don't know what Gavin Newsom wanted to do. I have no idea as to what he wanted to happen. But what I do know is this shouldn't be happening at all. This shouldn't be happening at all. These people are mad because people are getting deported. And I get it. Some of them are family members and things like that. But you all knew this was happening. This is what the people who voted for Trump wanted to happen. Now, there are some Republicans out there that are kind of calling it out like, hey, you done crossed the boundaries a little bit. You got Latinos, the president for Latinos for Trump. She came out and spoke out against it and said she didn't like it because it looked inhumane, right? And I guess you got the Democrats, you got some people on the left that's like, hey, gotcha, here you go. This is what y'all signed up for. You should have voted this way. I hate when y'all do that. I do. Because a lot of people actually did vote for this. And a lot of people actually don't have a problem with it. What they have a problem with is the city of Los Angeles burning to the ground. Especially when they already dealing with the aftermath, especially like Altadena, and that area, some parts of all over Los Angeles County that were hit with all those wildfires. They still recovering from that. And now here you got people tearing up, burning, putting graffiti everywhere, destroying stuff. This is the second time this year that something has happened in Los Angeles, and it seems like Karen Bass is not prepared for what's going on. It's the second time. First was the wildfires when she was in Ghana. This time, you got these protests going on, and they just kind of sitting there twiddling their thumbs. You don't really hear them saying, calling for peace and what strategy they had. Oh, maybe they want this to happen. Maybe they want them to burn the city down and tear it up. Who knows? maybe this might be the strategy. Hey, because it's just kind of organically happened. They just so happened that these protests broke out in Los Angeles. A lot of people getting arrested. So Trump ain't playing about these protests. I'm telling you, he campaigned on this, that law and order would come back to these cities with these protests. So he's not going to play around. Might want to be careful with this. Just saying. But speaking of Trump, though, Trump and Elon Musk, right? All week long, they have been going back and forth. Now, we know Trump has this big, beautiful bill, his spending cut bill. They're supposed to be the largest tax. They're supposed to bring back tax cuts and do all these things and, you know, spark the economy. And he's talking about, you know, the cost of gasoline going down. But it cuts the EV mandates, right? And that kind of pissed Elon Musk off because obviously the reason why Elon Musk is able to make so much money in the United States is because the vast majority of his company is subsidized by our government. So we basically are paying Elon for Tesla, his EV vehicles with Tesla and SpaceX. We're paying for these things. We're paying for these things as taxpayers. So Elon is pissed off that these tax cuts are being cut. But he's also mad that Trump didn't appoint the person that he wanted to be appointed into office at NASA. I guess Elon thought because he was a billionaire, he was going to be the new age Rockefeller, right? He was going to be, hey, you know, I got the money. We're just going to buy we're going to buy the presidency and we're going to have these people do what I want them to do because I got money. Problem is, Elon didn't realize he's still a foreigner. And ain't no American going to be taking they may take your money, but they're not going to sit up there and be listening to you like that. They may help you out. You know, we also know that Elon is no longer in his Doge, you know, seat because it was only a special appointment. And by law, you only could be specially appointed to like a committee for a certain amount of time. So the duration of his stay in D.C. is over with. So he's been lashing out on social media, saying this bill is gonna, add to the deficit. It's stupid. The EV mandates don't make any sense. And Tesla been taking a lot of heat. Elon took a lot. He was very popular amongst people until he went working for Doge, and then he pissed a lot of people off. They started buying Teslas, and next thing you know, they burning them up and blowing them up all over the place. Well, his little tirade online, I guess he thought he was going to threaten Trump and say all these things, and then Trump went on Truth Social and said, maybe maybe it's time for us to cut all of the funding to Elon's projects. And Elon's business lost $150 billion in value in one day. Boom. May not seem like a lot. It seems like a lot to us, right? $150 billion. His company was worth like $1.1 trillion, but he lose that value. Stock starts tumbling. Tesla stock is already dropping. So now you got this going on, and now the president is saying, hey, we might just cut all the funding to your projects altogether. That would wreck his companies and almost put them out of business. So that was like a G-check move by Trump. So Elon decided that he was going to go out there and said, just throw something out there hypothetical and say, hey, you all know why the Epstein files haven't been released yet? Because Trump is in them. He's in them. And everybody was like, whoa, what are you talking about? For real? Oh, shoot. Okay. It is completely messed up, right? Even, I don't know if he was doing that because he's mad. He may be sarcastic. Maybe he's blowing up, spazzing out. We've heard rumors about Elon, there's allegedly that, he likes to, be a little high. when he has a little addiction problem. So Trump was asked about this in the Oval. So I just want to play a little bit about what Trump said about Elon Musk. Let's take a listen.
But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem. And he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars. And it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, he became a little bit different. And I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody. And he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
So I'm very disappointed in Elon. Yeah, and that's what sparked Elon to come out with the next things, his little rant, and then he came out with the Epstein thing. So it's trouble in paradise, but it's also a cautionary tale. Like this makes it seem like Trump can't be bought. He gonna do what he want to do. He doesn't care about the friendships, relationships. This is business. And if it's true that Elon Musk knew all about this ahead of time, and all of a sudden because he's no longer in there, he wants to pout, then you looking real shady, dude. And trust Elon really anyway. But Trump said, "Hey, you know about these cuts, man. You know about these cuts from the get-go. This big beautiful bill. A lot of people don't like it. According to Trump, the CBO gave it a good score. So I guess we're going to see what happens with it. There's some revisions to Medicaid, Medicare in there. There's some work provisions that have to be made now. So people are pissed off about that. But we'll see how this bill goes, because right now it's still getting fleshed out. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she came out with a statement saying that she hadn't read anything in the bill. I mentioned that last week. She hadn't read anything in that bill. And then when she read it, she would have never voted yes on it. But now, it's got to get fleshed out. So, but Elon and Trump, this is an interesting dynamic here. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how much more Elon spazzes out, and see what happens when this bill finally gets signed. Because it's gonna be very, very interesting. I'm curious to see how Elon's gonna act. Is he just gonna spaz out? A lot of people think Elon had access to all this information. I don't know how much Elon had. I don't know what kind of clearance he was able to get. There's a lot of things that are said that he had people's personal information. I don't know if he had all that. I think his one thing we know about Congress is that even though you may have access to certain things, people are reluctant to give you access to everything. Like even the what did you do this week letter that they were supposed to have been sending. That started for a couple of weeks, where then government employees had to write out every Friday what they were doing. That started for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it went away. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Moving forward. In my last topic, this is something that is close to me because I'm up here in Ohio, and I know people from East Palestine. And when this incident happened in that area, and if you ever been to East Palestine, it's a small little rural town. We got a lot of those up here in Ohio. We got the small little rural towns that people just want to they're just making it. Not really. It's blue collar. You know what I'm saying? People just go to work. Not a lot of wealth there, because it's like a little small rural town. But they had a train derailment on Biden's watch. And the EPA director went to the area, and people were complaining about the chemicals that were on that train that spilled. You could smell that stuff all the way down here in Columbus. It was just in the air, just smelled horrible. So I know that if we smelt the way down here, then what was the smell in East Palestine? And these people were asking. The EPA director came out and did his best Obama, well, not the EPA director, but one of the guys in the EPA came out and took a glass of water like Obama did in Flint. Took it, tasted, yeah, it's clean. Well, now people are starting to develop conditions, medical conditions, and they have determined that this area might have been a cancer cluster. So I want y'all to take a listen to this, because this might have been one of the nastiest cover-ups of the modern era.
We have some new developments to a story that we have covered from the very beginning: the health of those who live in East Palestine, Ohio, following the toxic train derailment disaster. News Nation now learning the White House, FEMA, and other agencies worked together to reportedly cover up the possibility of serious health issues, like the potential for a cancer cluster breakout among people who live there.
FEMA, EPA, NTSB, Biden administration, cover up cancer clusters.
Rich McHugh has stayed on top of this story from the beginning. He joins us live now with the latest. Rich, we understand the Department of Homeland Security now responding to your reporting.
Hey, Brooke. Yeah, that's right. So our story clearly struck a nerve. Our story from Friday about the devastation and the potential cover-up in East Palestine. So initially, when they burned these 5 tankers full of 116,000 gallons of vinyl chloride, people complained. They were sick. They were sick for months. 7 months later, President Biden sent a FEMA representative there under an executive order to assess the unmet needs of the community. Now, new documents from FEMA obtained through the Freedom of Information Act show extensive coordination between FEMA, the White House, National Security Council, EPA, Department of Justice, voicing serious concerns about health toxins, the unmet needs of East Palestine following the train derailment. But publicly, their message was nothing to see here. Now, Leslie Pacey, she's an investigator with the Government Accountability Project. She sued to get these documents because they would not turn them over in a traditional FOIA. Here she is.
So you see what's going on. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. But behind closed doors, they were like, oh, this looks bad. Hey, we're just gonna tell the people, ain't nothing to see here. These are your citizens. And if there were toxins in the air and toxins in the ground and the soil where these people living at, and y'all covered this up, these people should sue the federal government.
It showed that FEMA knew healthcare was the #1 issue. It was only discussed internally. And it actually was discussed all the way up to the White House. There was White House officials and National Security Council officials discussing the dangers of the cancer cluster potential and the health issues, and discussing whether or not to release the unmet needs report to the public and to the media.
Now the Trump administration is slamming the Biden White House response. A Department of Homeland Security spokesman says in a statement, emails of FEMA ignoring a potential cancer cluster breakout in East Palestine, Ohio, under the Biden administration is yet another outrageous example of the gross mismanagement and poor treatment of Americans under the prior administration. Now, we reached out to Ohio officials. Senator Bernie Moreno gave us this statement. He said the Biden administration abandoned East Palestine because it was the exact voters they hate, white working class Americans. We reached out to Senator Husted, Attorney General Yost, and Governor DeWine, and are awaiting response from all 3 of them.
Now, Bernie Moreno, I'm not even going there. That's just stupid. There's no there. He's trying to bring race into it. No. They've been ignoring cancer clusters in black communities for decades, dude. Trust me. All you got to do is go down to the outskirts of New Orleans, go down to Augusta, Georgia, go down to Denmark, South Carolina, Lowndes County, Alabama, you name it, Flint, Michigan. Come on, dude. There's cancer clusters all over the country. So this isn't just about white people. This is what the government does. The people are complaining and they don't give a damn. They don't care. Hopefully, they do not care about citizens. Okay, this is not the game that they care about. If they cared about citizens, then we wouldn't be having, all these problems with, health care not being, universal health care not being there, government programs and services, education not being, equal. If they really cared, they would fix the problems, but they don't care. They don't care. They don't care at all. They do these things because it's all about control. Biden looked those people in the face, and behind closed doors, they knew good and well that this stuff was bad. And yet and still, to the public, they made it seem like it was nothing there. Now, his administration has, investigated this. Now, what's the end result? How do you fix a cancer cluster? Are you going to compensate these people? Can they sue? Like, what is the end result besides just calling out the Biden administration and saying, pointing fingers? See, they didn't care about you. Look what they did to you. Okay, so what are you going to do now that you know that now that we know that it was potentially a cover up? Is there going to be criminal aspect to this? What about compensation? What about compensation? Some people gonna go to jail for this. Some co-conspirators, because Biden pardoned his whole entire family and for anything that happened, so he can't be prosecuted. So somebody should take the fall for this, right? These are American citizens whose lives were left for squalor, really. They don't care about us, man. My heart goes out to the people in East Palestine. I hopefully, you all get some representation. Look at a class action lawsuit, because if these findings in this report that News Nation has uncovered is absolutely true, and this is a whistleblower report, then you all should be suing the federal government. And that's my time for tonight. I just want to thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back live and with a new show on Thursday night, new episode on Thursday night. Until next time, Culture Nation. Until next time, keep it culture.